What's up guys, another knife review. Today we're looking at a Spyderco. Yes, the majority of knife reviews on YouTube start off with the red and black box. There's just so many Spyderco reviews, but you know what, they're good knives. That's why you see so many of them. I like to mix it up every now and then, but there certainly are Spydercos that are worth talking about. Today we're going to be talking about, the Ambitious. You see C148 GP. The Ambitious is basically part of the Tenacious line. The Tenacious, I call it the Tenacious line because that's what came out first. Extremely popular, so what did Spyderco do? Using their thinking cap, they thought, you know what, people like this knife, let's make, I don't know, 3 other sizes. You have the Tenacious, you have the Resistance, the Resilience, or excuse me, not Resistance, Persistence. So Tenacious, Persistence, Resilience, and Ambitious. Now the Ambitious is the smallest one in the series. And right off the bat, I mean, if you've seen the million of different Tenacious reviews, that's basically what this is. It's a Tenacious, but it's smaller. That could be the end of the review because a lot of you guys are so familiar with the Tenacious by now, and you hear it over and over again. And everyone and their brother has a review on the Tenacious. So yeah, if you like the Tenacious, but it's just a little big for you, that's the knife. That's pretty much the review, but we'll go ahead and just go through the motions here. It is a great knife. It's even cheaper than the Tenacious because basically it's a smaller knife. You're looking at $25. You know, 30 is on the high side for this knife. So a lot of people ask me, like, what's a decent knife for 20 bucks? A lot of times my go-to answer was a K-Bar Dozier folder, or pretty much most of the Bird line, BYRD, which is also the Spyderco sister company. But you know what? Now that the little Ambitious is out, I think this is a new recommendation for a like a $20 knife. Because if you look really hard, you could find this for like 22 bucks. You know, like I said, on the lower side, most places 25 bucks. I think it's worth the extra $5. It's a fantastic knife, just like the Tenacious. Comes razor sharp. A piece of paper here. I'll do a little cut demo for you. This is a factory edge, by the way. Didn't do anything with this. This knife is brand new. All right, so I have 2 of them. The other one that's pretty used, you can't really tell it's used. It's just a little dirtier. But I wanted to give you a cut test with one straight out of the box here. All right, so here's the factory edge you get, which is no surprise. Like all Spydercos, you can expect a very sharp knife right out of the box, razor sharp. Blade steel on this one is 8CR13 MOV, and should say, yeah. Oh no, that's where it says China. Yes, it is made in China. There we go. 8CR13 MOV. Again, being on the soft side, all you gotta do is maintain your knife. I've said this before, you know, you spend $200 or $300 on the knife with the super steel. That's awesome if you don't know how to sharpen your knives. If you do know how to sharpen and maintain your knives, blade steel should not be a huge factor. Yes, you may prefer something that does not have to be sharpened as often, but you know, you can still appreciate cheap knives like this and use them all the time as long as you maintain them. And for me, I don't sharpen knives like I used to because of the fact that I started stropping about a year ago. And if you don't know, I do have videos on that. Basically, you get yourself a leather strop, you can get a really, really nice one for 50 bucks, or you can go cheap and get one for like 25 bucks. All right, get some stropping compound. It is well worth your time and effort to learn how to strop, okay? Because when I get done with using a knife for the day, even if I don't use it, it's just routine for me to go, you know, like my night routine when I get in the house, you know, throw my keys in my little thing I have on my dresser and put my wallet away, take off all my EDC items, and I go, and before I take my knife off, I go to my office area where I have the strop, you know, on a hook on the wall, and I do a few passes on each side. That keeps it razor sharp for a very, very long time. I can easily go, with using a knife on a regular basis, I can easily go a month or 2 without sharpening the knife, just by stropping it. It's an amazing, amazing thing, and I think everyone who owns knives or into knives should definitely learn how to do that. But anyway, out of the box, very sharp. Like I said, I mean, there's nothing, no surprise here. Spyderco does a fantastic job with their factory edges. They usually, for a lot of their models, they do, whoop, I'm catching the very bottom here. There we go. Most of their knives, gotta do one good one. It's all in technique too. You can see the shorter blade here with the stroke that the pass that I'm doing. I'm pulling the blade out as opposed to, say, push cutting one spot on the blade. So you'll see that I'm not completely getting through. One of the disadvantages of a shorter knife, but it comes down to technique. If you really know how to do these cut tests, they can definitely be more efficient. And that's one thing I should mention too. When you see people doing cut tests on videos, if it looks crappy like that and looks like it's catching, it may not be the knife all the time. It may just be the user, you know, whoever's making the video, not doing it properly. If you don't have the right angle, because some people, they try this at home and they just basically take the knife and they just go like that. And it doesn't look very impressive, but you keep a constant angle, you know, start at the heel but not too low. A lot of times when you'll see a very sharp knife in a video, it'll catch, you know, and it'll kind of tear, and you go, well, what the heck, I thought it was sharp. Well, that's because you're catching the very heel of the edge, okay? Where perhaps the sharp edge is now gradually going into, you know, the tang. So with proper technique, you can show that it's very sharp. But anyway, every now and then you just go too fast and it doesn't look very impressive, but I can promise you, it's nice and sharp. So anyway, let's get that off to the side. It is a fantastic knife. Basically, I was just babbling on about softer steels and just stropping. So I don't think it's a huge deal when I'm not very off-put by any kind of lower steel, put it that way. If I know it's from a reputable company like Spyderco or the dozens of other awesome knife companies out there, I have nothing to worry about. I know that it was properly heat treated, you know, that the fit and finish is going to be pretty good on a lot of these knives. So I don't care if it's 20 bucks. That doesn't mean it's crap to me. So fantastic knife. Anyway, 2.25 inches of that blade, that HCR 13 MOV. 5.8 inches open, so it is definitely smaller than the Tenacious. Only 3.5 inches closed. Awesome Spyderco pocket clip on this one. I chose to keep this one tip down. Most of the times when I have the option, which you do with this knife, you have you know, all four positions for swappable clip: left hand, right hand carry, you know, tip up or tip down, which is great. I wish every single knife that has a pocket clip had that option. Sometimes you can't have that option just by how the handle is shaped. Sometimes it tapers so low on the bottom, so narrow that there's just no way to put the holes because the pocket clip's too big. And for various reasons, some companies just don't do it. I chose to just keep this one tip down, which I usually don't do. I am definitely a tip up guy, mostly because I like a lot of the weight towards the inside of the pocket so it's more stable. But I've just been carrying it like this. This is how it came from the factory, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's totally fine. The one concern I had with a tip up with a lot of knives, because you have jimping on this one, I figure, well, every time I reach into my pocket, it's going to rub the side of my hand and be uncomfortable. Totally not the case. Absolutely no problem whatsoever. Something to consider though, if you do a tip up on knives, a lot of times you will get that smoother you know, spine of the handle. So when you reach into your pocket and rub on your knife, you're not necessarily grabbing, you know, the jimping or the edge of the blade. And sometimes on a lot of knives, there's such a perfect 90-degree cut here. That corner, you know, where the top of the blade meets the side, that corner is quite, you know, quite a small angle. So it's kind of sharp. I mean, it's not going to cut you, but it could irritate your hand quite a bit. That's a concern that not a lot of people talk about. Because, you know, most of the time I do clip my knife in my pocket, and a lot of times I'm reaching in the same pocket to grab change, you know, my little trolley changer, or maybe my other EDC items like my Leatherman I have in the pocket, or my flashlight. So I don't hear a whole lot of videos about that. I may make a separate video on it. I don't know. Anyway, super smooth. You can't flick these out, just like the Tenacious and all the other models. I like the Ambitious here because it is the smallest one, and I love small knives. I mean, I have an appreciation for all types of knives, but I do love small knives as well because they're not as scary for people. And quite often, what I'm doing with a knife, I can get away with a 2-inch blade or more. Anything under 2 inches is just a little bit too short for my uses, but I don't always need, you know, a 3.5 or 4-inch or 5-inch or 6-inch blade. You know, it's just overkill. If I'm opening a package and I'm using, you know, 1/8 of an inch of the tip just to score the tape, I don't need a massive knife. All right, so I mean, really think about what you're using your knives for. But anyway, it's fantastic. G10 scales on this, very, very smooth. I think it's even smoother than the Tenacious scales. Of course, if you want to change the flavor or so forth, you can go to guys like Tough Thumbs, you know, on YouTube here, or you can go to Gavco and just have all these awesome knife pimpers. Just make it your own. You know, you figure you spend 20 bucks or $25 on a cheap knife, put a little bit of money into customizing it, and you have the perfect custom knife, you know? And you don't have to worry about, well, you wouldn't want to lose your knife, but at least you're not out a couple $100s for a full custom blown knife. You can definitely customize it, which is pretty cool. Anyway, fantastic knife. Like I said, basically a small Tenacious. That's what it comes down to. And the Tenacious is still one of my favorite, highly recommended knives I've ever used as far as production knives go. Just extremely sharp out of the box, you know, very durable for the money. This thing all day long will beat all of those $20 knives you get at the flea market. You know, it'll take on any of them. None of them are as sharp, as durable, as nicely fit and finished. You know, they're awesome, cheap knives. It's very hard to find. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say it's not as bad as it used to be. 10 years ago, it was very hard to find a $20 knife that was worth buying. These days, there's such competition between companies. You're seeing more and more of these really, really cheap, overseas made knives that are just blown away. You know, everyone's opinions, you know? It's hard to put a price on quality. I can't just say, you know, any knife that's $30 or less is cheap. I've had $5 knives that were just amazing and they work great. And I've also had $500 knives that were amazing and work great. We all have different tastes and different opinions, but as long as the edge stays sharp and it's comfortable to use and it's secure, being a folding knife, the lock is always important. By the way, liner lock, nice lockup. And wants to see the centering on this one. Centering is perfect. Let's see, I'm gonna give you a better shot of that. Oh, perfect for me. I can care less. I would say it's slightly off, but I mean, fraction of an inch. It's not rubbing, put it that way. It's all you want. If I were to screw with the pivot a little bit, I can probably get it to right there, and that would be perfect. But anyway, not important for me. I usually don't even mention that because unless it's literally to one side and it's rubbing every time I open and close it, I don't care about blade centering. It doesn't do anything for me. As long as the lockup is nice, which this one is, there's no movement in any direction, I'm a happy camper. So anyway, this knife is certainly very ambitious and it will definitely take on a lot of different cutting tasks that you might need it for. So definitely check it out. And I don't know if I'll do reviews on the other two in the series here. Again, the Persistence or the Resilience. I do really want the Resilience just because of the fun novelty factor of it. But I don't really see, you know, the real purpose for having reviews on all four of them. They're basically the same knife. They're just different sizes. But anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it as always, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.